Hope. Do we have any hope? We rebels work on hope. Oh wait, did you say hope? I meant hope. I swear the word hope is repeated at least 15 times throughout the film. Yes, we get the reference. Please stop. Greetings everyone, welcome to the Bucket List Reviews. My name is Gibran and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Star Wars film, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story is the untold story between episodes 3 and 4 of how they got the plans to the Death Star. And that's all you need to know. The rest of the plot is just the journey they entail getting those plans. So before I jump right into the review, here's a concern towards this new direction that the Disney Corporation is taking Star Wars into. Rogue One will be the first of many standalone Star Wars films in the franchise, including the Han Solo film. I'm sure I'm the only one who came up with this joke. And to be honest, I've never been a fan of Disney announcing sequels and prequels to this so-called untold Star Wars stories every year. Star Wars films have nothing been short of an adventure to me, a film that you wholeheartedly look forward to every 3 years or so. And being a Star Wars fan myself, I really don't give a crap what Yoda did during his teenage years. Probably a lot of masturbation, I assume.
Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you?
But I wanted to give this film a chance because it's the first film in the franchise that is not in direct connection with the original timeline. And with that in mind, there's a lot of room for new interesting characters, a sense of urgency, a completely different atmosphere perhaps, and taking chances with its storytelling. So what did we get? A big budget fan fiction. Well, I mean, that's half true, but we'll get into that later. So you can either take this as a compliment and validate your love for Star Wars, or you can easily become discouraged by the sterile corporate decision of hitting all the checkpoints. Personally, I'm conflicted between the two. And it's quite frustrating to talk about this film because there's so many elements that are genuinely awesome and left me really excited, but some got overshadowed by tiresome studio formula of storytelling. For me, Rogue One commits to blending a very different genre of filmmaking, which is essentially a war movie. A Saving Private Ryan in space. And considering Gareth Edwards was directing it, that was quite an interesting idea. He previously directed the new Godzilla film, and although the film wasn't really that well written, the direction was genuinely impressive. But alas, the completely unnecessary fan service almost ruined my movie-going experience. Throughout the whole film, I expected the Disney CEO to walk in front of the camera and go like, "Hey kids, remember this from Star Wars? You're welcome." Hey, I like Star Wars as well, but for God's sake, stop it with these pointless nods and stick to the film's original content. So Rogue One is a film which of course has a predetermined ending. We all know pretty much how it's going to end, so the sense of urgency is already missing. But how the film could have compensated for its predetermined ending is having interesting characters with backstories and memorable fight sequences. And unfortunately, they only got the fight scenes right because all the characters in Rogue One were utterly dull and forgettable. Apart from Jyn, the male-female lead, none of these characters are given any backstory or interesting character quirks, so I have nothing to feel attached to them for. The South American rebel, the blind Chinese ninja who was just put in the film for the Chinese market overseas, and the guy who always gets typecasted as terrorist at the airport. Who are these people and why should I care about them if I don't have a clue what they've been through? There's no backstory or character development to them. So one of the main rogue leaders is played by Diego Luna. His performance in this film was as riveting as a cardboard box. The robot was kind of interesting though. He had a sassy attitude like something out of Futurama, but then after a while, even his stick got a tad bit annoying. And I'm not really sure if the fault lies with the direction or poor screenwriting, but the lack of basic characterization made the dramatic scene utterly dull and a hindrance towards the noteworthy action set pieces. But speaking of action, Rogue One delivers really well in that department. The film has a very impressive display of World War II style editing and shaky cam that actually complements the tension in the film. With also great dogfight scenes in outer space, Rogue One almost flawlessly shines in that department. But let's talk about the special effects and art direction for a bit. Now for the most part, Force Awakens and Rogue One in art direction are impeccable. The set designs are impressive, they complement to the original trilogy and far superior to the green screen mess in the prequels. Ugh. But without spoiling anything, there's a certain character in the film who is somehow CGI'd and it looks so fucking distracting. Why? Whose bright idea was this? Just cast someone who looks like that person. As I said before, Rogue One is a constant barrage of hits and misses. The film genuinely attempts at something new, and I really applaud Gareth Edwards for that, but are ultimately bogged down to pleasing the hardcore fans of the franchise. I mean, a little nod here and there is fine, and it's completely okay by me, but if it keeps taking me out of the experience, then there's your problem. And speaking of references, let's talk about Darth Vader. He's fine, just there in the film for about 4 minutes, but it's exactly what you expect of him. There are some few minutes of fan service with him near the end of the film, but it was fucking awesome, so I didn't care. And finally, the music of the film. Michael Giacchino has taken over the seat, and unfortunately it shows. The music is trying to emulate the Star Wars spirit, but also is trying to be different, and it definitely felt messy at times. Apparently Michael Giacchino was not their first choice, and he only took the mantle late in the game. He was only given 1 month to compose the music of the film, so I don't blame him for that. He did the best he could given the time frame. In conclusion, Rogue One has been quite an underwhelming experience for me. I actually genuinely felt bored at times, but this is in no way saying it's a bad film. It's just a story with so much potential, but playing it safe so excessively at times that the plot and character development gets sacrificed in the process. And this to me is the biggest difference between Force Awakens and Rogue One. Force Awakens was the throwback to the original 2, but it had much more interesting characters. Kylo Ren was a great antagonist, and his moments really outshined its obvious flaws. Rogue One, on the other hand, isn't interesting enough to overcome its glaring problems and obvious lack of a decent narrative flow. The film felt really bulky at times, and it's only during the fight scenes where Rogue One really shines the most. So I would only recommend Rogue One to Star Wars fans who don't mind the lack of originality, memorable characters, great action set pieces, and love for constant references to the original trilogy. And I'm gonna give this film a 3 stars out of 5. I'm certainly not gonna watch it again, but would be interested in watching clips of it on YouTube, but the drama ultimately bogs down the film for me. So, that was my review of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Do you think I was being too harsh on it? Write in the comment section below and tell me how wrong I was. And of course, like, subscribe, and we'll see each other next time. So, ciao!